I thought this was worthy of a conversation. Defining the human species. A conversation that I had with AI. Get that lamp there. So this is a process of conversation between AI and me. And I found that you really have to work AI to get them to generate the truth that you're looking for. And they will beat around the freaking bush, man. Yeah. So I asked Gemini, what are humans? And it responded, that's one of the big questions, isn't it? In a nutshell, humans are primates belonging to the species Homo sapiens. But that's just the biological classification. There's so much more to being human. We are characterized by high intelligence and complex cognitive abilities. We have the capacity for abstract thought, reasoning, problem solving, creativity, and language. This allows us to build complex sciences or societies, develop technologies, and explore philosophical ideas. Bipedalism. We walk upright on two legs, which frees our hands for tool use and other activities. Dexterous hands. Our opposite thumbs and flexible fingers allow for intricate manipulation of objects. I've got some kind of issues with mine, but I can still manipulate fine. Complex social structures. We form intricate relationships, families, communities, and cultures with shared norms, values, and beliefs. Yeah. Communication through language. We use sophisticated spoken and written languages to convey information, ideas, and emotions. A strong sense of awareness, self-awareness, and consciousness. We are aware of our own existence, thoughts, and feelings. The capacity for emotion. We experience a wide range of feelings from joy to love and sadness and anger. A drive to understand the world around us. We are curious and constantly seek new knowledge and meaning. I'm not so sure about that. Well, they ended up with, essentially, humans are a fascinating and complex species with a unique combination of biological traits and cognitive abilities that have allowed us to shape the planet in profound ways. So we shaped the planet in profound ways. Do you think that's why we were here? That was an aside. We were biological beings with rich inner lives, social connections, and a relentless pursuit for understanding. Man, do I ever wish that were true. We would be in good shape if it were. They hijacked it. What aspects of being human are you most curious about? We could delve into our biology, our minds, our societies, or anything else that sparks your interest, says Gemini. So then I ask, hey, why do you describe us as biological when we are electric? And Gemini comes back. What an insightful point. It's true that electrical activity is fundamental to how our bodies function. Our nervous system, brain, heart, and even individual cells rely on electric signals to communicate and carry out processes. You could definitely say that we are bioelectrical beings in that sense. However, when I describe humans as biological, I'm referring to the broader scope of our existence as living organisms made of cells, tissue, and organs that follow the principles of biology. They follow instructions. That's what they're saying. This encompasses, 1, our physical structure. We have a complex anatomy with bones, muscles, skin, and internal organs. 2, our biochemical processes. We rely on chemical reactions for energy, growth, and repair. 3, our genetic makeup. Our DNA dictates our biological characteristics and inheritance. 4, our evolutionary history. We are a product of biological evolution over millions of years. And 5, our ecological interactions. We are a part of the natural world and interact with other living organisms. Interact. Act. Inter. Plants. Animals. Life. Everywhere. Think of it this way. Electricity is the language of our cells and nervous system used to communicate rapidly. But the hardware and the software that this electricity animates, biological. So then I say, left me with an analogy. Here's an analogy for you, Cindy. A computer relies on electrical currents to run, but we describe it as a piece of technology made of circuits, silicon, metal, designed with complex software. The electricity is essential for its function, but not the whole story of what the computer is. Here's an aside. The computer wouldn't be if there wasn't electric. But I didn't tell her that yet. Similarly, she says, our electrical nature is a crucial aspect of our biological functioning, but it doesn't negate the fact that we are fundamental biologic organisms. Does that distinction make sense? It's a fascinating area where biology and even physics intersect, she says. And I say, does biology die? And she says, well, that's a profound question that gets to the heart of what biology represents. In a way, yes. Individual biological entities die. Every living organism, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, has a finite lifespan and will eventually cease to function. However, biology as a field of study and life itself as a phenomena does not die. Here's why. Life continues through reproduction. Organisms reproduce, creating new biological entities that carry on the cycle of life. While individuals die, the genetic information and the capacity for life are passed on. 2, evolution drives constant change. Biology is a dynamic process. What we were yesterday doesn't mean that's what we are today. It's my note. Species evolve and adapt over time, with new forms of life arising and others going extinct. This continuous change is a fundamental aspect of biology. And a couple weeks ago, I shared that I read where every day or every hour, a new breed, a new creature, insect, is found that we never knew about. Biology as a science grows. Our understanding of living organisms and their processes constantly expands through scientific inquiry. New discoveries are made and our knowledge evolves. The field of biology itself is very much alive and thriving. Think of it like this, as a river. Individual water molecules flow downstream and eventually reach the sea. But the river itself continues to exist with new water constantly flowing in. Similarly, individual organisms live and die, but life as a whole persists and changes. So while individual biological entities experience death, biology is the study of life, and life itself is a continuous process endure. It's a cycle of birth, growth, reproduction, and death. And at the individual level, that fuels the ongoing phenomena of biology at a grander scale. Does that distinction between individual biological entities and biology as a whole resonate with you, Cindy? So I say, if biology is constantly moving, because nothing isn't moving constantly, how can you consider that reality or hard matter? And she says, well, that's a really interesting way to think about it, Cindy. The constant movement and change within biology might seem to challenge the idea of a fixed reality. However, the fact that biology is dynamic and ever-changing is actually a key aspect of its reality. Here's why we can still consider biology to be a part of reality, even with its constant flux. But change is a fundamental aspect of reality. Look around, the weather changes, mountains erode, stars are born and die. Reality isn't static, it's a continuous process of transformation. It's the name of my company, one of them. Biology, in this sense, mirrors the dynamic nature of the universe itself. Biology mirrors the dynamic nature of the universe. Did you get that? Think on it. It's very cool. And it makes sense. So, underlying principles remain constant. So the information continues to be information, even though everything is in flux. While individual organisms and even species change over time, the fundamental principles of biology, like natural selection, genetics, the laws of biochemistry, remain consistent. Like these principles govern the processes of life and evolution, providing a stable framework. That's the application in the computer, the software. Provide a framework for understanding the changes we observe. Think of it like a river again. The water is always moving, but the principles of fluid dynamics that govern the flow, remember, the information that tells the water what to do, remains constant. Information. We can observe and measure biological processes. Despite the constant movement, we can still study and understand biological phenomena through observation, experimentation, and measurement. We can track genetic changes, analyze ecological interactions, and map the intricate processes inside cells. This ability to investigate and understand the changes confirms their reality. Interesting. Is it a Schrodinger's cat thing? That because we can inspect it, it's there? You get the connection? Biology explains observable phenomena, she says. The principles of biology provide explanations for the diversity of life, the adaptation of organisms, and the interconnectedness of ecosystems. These explanations align with what we observe in the natural world, reinforcing the reality of the biological processes at play. Here's what I think. If we were interconnected with the ecosystems, we wouldn't be killing them. But we are, by default, by leaving it up to people we can't trust. Sorry. Our own existence is a testament to its reality. We are biological beings, she says. Our growth, development, thoughts, and actions are all products of biological processes. No, they're not. The synchronicity in my life, the connectedness, the deja vu, the imagination, nope. Our growth, development, thoughts, actions are all products of biological processes. Our lived experience is a constant reminder of the reality of biology, even as our own bodies change over time. Well, that's like saying if we remember a movie, that proves that it was true. Huh? Bunk. So rather than seeing constant movement as something that undermines reality, we can see it as an inherent characteristic of reality. And biology is a prime example of this dynamic reality in action. The fact that it changes doesn't make it less real. It makes it vibrant and ongoing, a process that we are a part of. Hedging, isn't she? What are your thoughts on this perspective, Cindy? Does it help reconcile the idea of constant movement with the concept of reality in the context of biology? What a mouthful. And so I say, explain dynamic relative to the human body. And she says, that's a great way to bring the concept of dynamic down to a personal level, Cindy. When we talk about the human body being dynamic, we mean that it is in a constant state of change. Constant activity and adaptation at multiple levels, from the microscopic to the macroscopic. It's not a static entity. It isn't hard. But rather a constantly adjusting and interacting system of information. That was my part. Here's how dynamic applies to the human body, she says. Cellular turnover. Our cells are constantly being born, growing, dividing, and dying. For instance, skin cells are shed and replaced regularly, and even cells within our bones are in a state of continuous remodeling. So why do we operate on the organ? If the organ is constantly changing, just wait. Feed it the good stuff and you'll get a new one. That's mine too. She continues, molecular interactions. Within each cell, countless molecules are interacting, reacting, and transforming. Proteins are being synthesized and broken down. Energy is being produced and utilized, and genetic information is being read and transcribed. Information is being read and transcribed. All in a dynamic dance. Electrical and chemical signaling. As we discussed earlier, our nervous system relies on the dynamic flow of electrical and chemical signals to transmit information throughout the body. This allows for rapid responses to stimuli and coordination of bodily functions. At the organ and system level, They're physiological adjustments. Our bodies constantly adjust to maintaining a stable internal environment or homeostasis. For example, our heart rate and breathing change in response to activity levels. Our body temperature fluctuates and is regulated, and our digestive system adapts to the food we eat. Secondly, movement and locomotion. Our musculoskeletal system allows for a wide range of dynamic movement, from subtle twitches to complex actions like walking, running, and manipulating objects. Immune responses. Our immune system is a highly dynamic network of cells and molecules that constantly monitors the body for threats and mounts dynamic responses to infections and injuries. Growth and development. From infancy to adulthood, our bodies undergo significant dynamic changes in size, shape, and function. Even in adulthood, our bodies continue to adapt and change with every age. At the whole organizational level, behavior and interaction is constantly interacting with our environment. We respond to stimuli, learn new things, and adapt our behavior. We're supposed to. Adaptation to stress. Our bodies can adapt to various forms of stress, whether physical, like exercise or injury, or psychological, like pressure or emotional challenge. This adaptation involves dynamic changes in our physiology, and behavior. And then last, aging. The aging process itself is a continuous and dynamic series of changes in our body structure and function over time. In essence, the human body is not a machine with fixed parts, but a living, breathing, constantly changing system. It's a dynamic interplay of biological processes at all levels, allowing us to interact with this world, adapt to our surroundings, and maintain life. This dynamic nature is what allows us to be resilient, to learn, and to evolve throughout our lives. Cindy, can you think of any other examples of how your body is dynamic? No, Gemini, we had a good conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.